The women had to stand in a hole.
Yeah, Bruce Willis, he's like this tall. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. They all have it. You gotta get used to this thing.
Look at my tiny sister
What's
over
that?
there. That's my tiny sister.
That's your tiny sister? You all look alike. Yeah, I know. Is she your older sister or your younger?
Don't say that in front of me.
No, I won't.
I don't know that we can wait for the pillow.
No, we won't.
worry.
No, we wait for nothing.
Pillow is nobody.
No, that's just chit chat. We're just having fun up here.
Hello. Let me welcome all of you here today to our panel on inequality, politics, the economy, and the media. My name is John Schwartz. I'm a faculty member in public policy at the University of Arizona. And we have three wonderful authors here today, and I'd like to introduce each of them to you from right to left, and then have each of them talk in succession for 10 to 12 minutes on a question that I'll pose to them. And on my immediate left is John Nichols, a pioneer blogger and Washington correspondent for The Nation. And he's a contributing writer for The Progressive. His articles appear in newspapers across the country, and he's a frequent commentator on MSNBC and on other radio and television venues. His latest book is an extremely thoughtful, yet also quite troubling analysis of the demise of democracy in America today, entitled Dollarocracy: How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. And next to him on his left is Barbara Garson, an award-winning author, playwright, and activist who has written, among other books, Money Makes the World Go Round, One Investor Tracks Her Cash Through the Global Economy. Her latest book, jam-packed with powerful insights about life in America today, learned from her portrayal of the individual lives of Americans, is entitled Down the Up Escalator: How the 99% Live. And finally, William D. Cohan is a former Wall Street investment banker who has written for the nation's leading newspapers and appeared as a guest on The Daily Show, The Charlie Rose Show, and The NewsHour, among many others. Author of many books, he has won the Financial Times Best Book of the Year award. And his latest work, just coming out, is a gripping book that tells a riveting story called The Price of Silence, the Duke Lacrosse Scandal, the Power of the Elite, and the Corruption of Our Great Universities. And so I'd like to start with a question for John Nichols, and ask him to speak for 10 or 12 minutes, starting with that and then going into other areas that he would like to emphasize. But a lot of changes have taken place over the past several decades in the operations of journalism and the role of money in elections. How have they affected ordinary citizens' sense of having a true voice in our elections and our governing process?
Well, thank you for the question, John. It goes right to the heart of the book. And also, I'm embarrassed to be on a panel where I'm being questioned by John, who wrote one of the most important books of the year in Common Credo. And he is a great thinker who's actually outlined a lot of the ideas that help us to think about what I'm talking about. Look, the fact of the matter is nothing is the same about politics. Nothing is what it was. And the only people that haven't been informed of this are the people. And it is a fascinating notion, because every day across America, citizens continue to engage in the political process, imagining that they are fighting the old fights, that they are doing it in ways that they have historically done it. And occasionally they will prevail. But beyond the zone in which they operate, there is another reality altogether. And that separate reality altogether is now so definitional that grassroots politics is actually discarded and made highly irrelevant, at least to the eyes of the media. And let me give you an example of what I'm saying. 16 American states have called on the Congress of the United States to pass a constitutional amendment to overturn the 2010 Citizens United ruling that allowed corporations to spend as they choose in our politics. 16 American states have done that. 500 American communities, major cities across this country, Los Angeles, Tucson, where we are today, have petitioned their government for the redress of grievances. Just last Tuesday, 35 New Hampshire towns at their town meetings petitioned their Congress to begin the process of overturning the Citizens United ruling. And yet, that story is discussed almost nowhere in our media. I go to audiences across this country, and people are like, I had no idea. I had no idea there is a mass movement in this country involving millions of people seeking to solve the problems of this republic. And why is that? Why is that? Because our media in this country has decided that the only really interesting thing is the gossip of rich people and their political pawns. And so our political coverage is essentially gossip coverage. Well, I have to be fair here. That's a little insulting to shows like, these gossip shows on TV, because they have far more depth. And, if Nancy Grace goes after a trial, there's simply no question you're going to learn a lot more than you do about politics from watching a political show. But the basic concept holds. We have dumbed down and emptied out our political coverage over the last 20 years at a rate that is so alarming that if it happened by force, if someone had come from outside and said, we want you to lay off more than 20,000 newspaper employees across this country, which has happened in the last 5-6 years, more than 20,000 newspaper employees. We want you to shut down the competing newspapers in towns across this country, something that happened right here in Tucson, and it happened also in Albuquerque, and in Seattle, and in Denver. Kansas City, Kansas, a significant city, no longer has a daily newspaper. Ann Arbor, Michigan, a college town, no longer has a print daily newspaper. The fact of the matter is, we have hollowed this thing out. The number of newspapers and TV outlets that have shut down their Washington bureaus would blow your mind. At one point, we were cataloging that it was happening at a weekly rate. In state houses across this country, the number one complaint I get from politicians is not about the Tea Party, and it's not about the labor movement, it's not about the left or the right. The number one complaint is that no one's paying attention to them anymore. State house bureaus have just shut down and disappeared. City halls across this country are uncovered. We literally have a blank zone. It has gone dark in huge parts of America. Our media is failing to do the basic job of providing the information necessary in a democracy. And then I have people say, well, yeah, but we have the internet now. It's a complete fantasy. The internet is a fabulous tool for organizing. It's a fabulous tool for sharing information. But the fact of the matter is, the number of people making a sustainable living doing journalism on the internet is absurdly small, does not begin to keep up with the number of print journalists that you lose on a regular basis. And so we are hollowing out journalism in this country, and at the same time, we are flooding in money. We are literally allowing the wealthiest people in this country and the most powerful people in this country and corporations themselves to pour money into our campaigns. And so I know that we're talking to one of the smartest audiences in America, so I probably don't have to make this connection. But when you hollow out, dumb down, and disappear journalism, and you flood in money from the wealthy, money from the elites, money from the most powerful, what do you get? A political discourse defined by wealth and privilege. And as a result, what we discuss in America, and I use quotation marks here, seriously, is how we can deal with the problem of hungry people getting too much food stamps and too much school lunch. No, I'm serious. This is a major. How major? No, that is. People laugh. I'm not kidding. The Congress of the United States was debating